All right, hour number 3. What is it, a Wednesday, July 12th? Here we are flying through the summer on Idaho Sports Talk. We're Prater in the Ballgame. Thanks again for hanging out with us tonight. Just another quick reminder that KTIK Sports Radio, The Ticket, will be headed to fabulous Las Vegas next week for Mountain West Media Days. We've teamed up with Bronco Nation News. Prater and myself, Johnny Ballgame Prater, we're going to give the best possible Boise State coverage we can provide, all the latest and greatest on everything else going on with the Mountain West, video segments, a bunch of stuff we're doing with BNN and Idaho Sports Talk this week, this time next week from Vegas, bud.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Very, very excited about that, and we're just going to load you up with all kinds of stuff. So the college football season for us starts next week, Tuesday, Idaho Sports Talk live from Circa Resort and Casino out there at the Cabana with you and Bob, and then you and I on Wednesday and Thursday, also from Circa Resort and Casino, inside the bowels, inside the hallways of the third floor, talking to coaches, players, administrators, commissioners, and all kinds of experts. So we can't wait for that one. Looking forward to that ball game.
Getting you guys ready for football season right here at KTIK Sports Radio, The Ticket. One of the exercises we will be doing down there, and I think one that fans have some interest in, is, kind of the Player of the Year awards, preseason style. Who's getting all the respect going into the season, who's being disrespected. And I think there's only 3 names when we talk about offensive preseason Player of the Year in the Mountain West. I think you're going to hear Taylen Green. I think you're going to hear George Halani. And I think you are going to hear Tory Horton. Prater, I don't think any other offensive player will win this award other than those 3. We kind of want to talk in this segment about, we have votes. Who the heck will be voting for?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call BS on your list there, ball game, because my winner is not even on your list, and I feel like I came up with the best winner. And these are the kind of segments that I don't like, because at the end of this segment, I'm not going to be the homer like everybody else in this town is. Everybody in this town is a freaking homer, and I'm not. I never will be. And I also take a look at some other players in this league. I mean, this whole I hate these awards. As a matter of fact, when I was at the Statesman, we banned reporters from doing these awards.
You see, you didn't give them a vote.
And I know that surprises you, Mr. Kill Life of the party, and don't go out and have some fun. But I don't like it when reporters, I don't like it when sports writers, I don't like it when news people get themselves in the middle of the news. And when we report this next week as news, and we took part in it, I've always felt uncomfortable about that. I haven't voted in the Mountain West one in a long time. They sent me a ballot for whatever reason. I never asked for it, and I guess I'll fill this one out. But I always feel uncomfortable about it. I also try to figure out, are we projecting who we think is going to have the best year, or honoring the people that have had the best career so far? And neither one of those are right, and neither one of those are wrong. I think that's individual styles. And there's going to be somewhere between 45 and 55 voters in this process. And everybody's going to have a different kind of strategy. And that's where the beauty of democracy comes into play, is it takes everybody into account. And all of a sudden we have ourselves a consensus winner. Ballgame, I'm throwing Chevan Cordero on that list. He's by far the most accomplished athlete coming back in the Mountain West Conference this year, by far the most accomplished quarterback coming back from this year. He's got unbelievable stats. This is going to be a 6th year. He gets better every single year, and he does a nice job as the quarterback at San Jose State. So I'm going to add him to my list, and then you and I are going to sit here and debate that. I don't have George Halani as one of my top 5 players on the Boise State football team, let alone in the entire Mountain West Conference. I don't think he'll get a single vote in this deal. Taylen Green, I think, is a legitimate candidate. Tory Horton, the Colorado State wide receiver, is a legitimate candidate. And I'm going to sit here and stump for Chevan Cordero. Chevan Cordero, I promise you, I voted for Mountain West Quarterback of the Year. I did not vote for Taylen Green as the Mountain West Quarterback of the Year. And since I didn't even vote Taylen Green as the Mountain West Quarterback of the Year, how can I vote for him as the Mountain West Player of the Year?
Yeah, you couldn't. I wouldn't if I were you, if I had that vote too. And Chevan Cordero's had a very nice career. I think 27, 28 touchdown passes away from the all-time Mountain West record.
He's thrown for 10,000 yards, and he's going to start his 6th season, and his stats are unbelievable. Taylen Green's never started a full season in college football. But again, I'm not saying that it's wrong. It depends on the voter and how you look at it. Are you rewarding somebody for what they've done in the past, or projecting and guessing and speculating about what they could do this year? If you told me who's going to have the best season in 2023 in terms of quarterbacks in the Mountain West, absolutely we have to talk about Taylen Green. Absolutely he's on that list. So is Chevan Cordero, and and probably that list might end right there in the Mountain West, unfortunately.
Yeah, how much should last year mean when you're voting for this year? Or should it mean everything? 208-424-9300. How do you look at these polls? As what's going to happen, or honoring people for what they have done? Or maybe it's a little of both. I think there's certainly an element, obviously, when I was voting for my preseason all conference teams, I mean, especially like on offensive linemen, the only thing you can really look up is how many times they've been honored in the past. Have they been on an all conference team? You can look at the stats of their offensive line, how many sacks they give up, but that's a unit statistic. That's not an individual statistic.
Yep.
Some of this stuff is really hard. For me, quarterback, I think Taylen Green is the most exciting player in this league. I think he takes a massive step. And for me, I think it's what you're going to do. I'm voting them player of the year offensively and defensively, meaning at the end of the year, I think that's what it's going to be. I think that's what this award is. Who is going to end up being the player of the year in this league? I think it's going to be Taylen Green. I think Boise State's going to have more wins than anybody. I think that always helps a little. And I think Taylen Green can throw. I don't think his numbers have to dramatically get better, just a little bit. And I think he's going to put himself in position to win this award. Basically, Prater, I think he's going to have a better highlight reel than anybody else in this league. I think he'll be one of the biggest names in this league this year that I think is searching, maybe even starving for some household names in this season. I think Cordero and San Jose, how they're going to win this, they're going to have to win more games. Can San Jose State be a 9-10 win team and maybe be in the conference championship game, something like this? I really like Cordero, but I'm going with Taylen Green on this.
Yeah, and I understand that. I get that. I absolutely get that. I went more with the career, and certainly, if Chevin Cordero has the kind of career that he had last year, I mean, he threw for 3,300 yards and 23 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. Unbelievable in terms of what he can do. And he also rushes the ball really well. He had 9 rushing touchdowns last year. Are you kidding me? He's had 29 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 years. Way more. And I mean, there's no way that Taylen Green's going to rush for 9 touchdowns this year with Genty and Helani in the background. By the way, I did vote Helani and Genty as my running back 1 and running back 2 in the Mountain West. I couldn't even find running back 3. There is no way that Helani and Genty aren't the best running backs in the Mountain West Conference this year. So I voted for them. There's my homer vote, Helani and Genty. But there's no way George Helani should be considered for Mountain West preseason player of the year, in my opinion.
I think he's the biggest name coming back in the league. That would be the only reason I think voters would say, oh, Helani, he's still here. Oh, he's back. Oh, he had 1,000 yards rushing last year. Oh, George Helani. Okay, there you go. There he is. It'd be one of those type of things.
Maybe, but you also forget that most people voting in this outside of the city of Boise can't stand Boise. There is the Boise fatigue, and they look hard and fast and wide for anybody. They don't sit there and say, "Oh, George Helani," and get excited. And they go, "Oh, that dude's back. I got to find somebody else to put on my list other than a Boise State guy." That's how non-Boise State fans vote, and then everybody in Boise is just massive homers and votes for Boise State guys.
That's funny.
That's always how it breaks down.
So Boise State's still like they're the USC of the Mountain West. They're like in the Big Ten. Anybody but Michigan and Ohio State. Yeah. Those type of things. And reporters go in there thinking, do I really just have to list this Boise? Yeah.
There's definitely that kind of Boise fatigue.
So you don't think George, I think Helani will get 1 vote.
Probably from you.
No.
Sounds like it's coming from you.
He's not my preseason player of the year. I got Taylen Green, but
you think he's going to get at least 1 vote for preseason player of the year?
Yeah, that was my question. Helani. I think Helani might. So you think it's going to be?
If he does, and I think you might be right, but if he does, in my opinion, that's an uninformed vote.
He had 1,000 yards last year. Mm-hmm. Was he first team all league or second? I can't remember what Helani was. I don't know what it was, but one of those.
If I'm going to play your game, and you just told me that you do everything based on speculation and forecasting what's going to happen this season, I think I know where you are. I think you expect Ashton Genty to have a better season than George Helani, but maybe I'm wrong. I think most people around here expect Ashton Genty to be the better running back when the season's over with.
Felt like he was the better running back when the season ended last year.
Agreed.
That's it. Just felt like he was ready to take that step. But Yeah, I don't think Genty will have any love for preseason offensive player.
Oh,
of the year.
no,
I don't think you will.
No,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
at all. No.
I think if someone does get a vote, it's more likely based on what they've done, in my opinion, to be George Holani.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think
fair.
he'll be first team preseason, Holani. I think that we can say for sure. Now, will they put two Boise State guys on it? We'll see. What if it's Genty and not Holani? Is that a possibility at all that we get the preseason All Mountain West team and George Holani not on it?
I'd like to know who they put on there except for George Holani.
Yeah. I think Holani gets on there before Ashton Genty.
I can't sit here and tell you how other people are going to vote, but I love George Holani. Don't get me wrong, and this is not a George Holani or a Taylen Green bashing session, but I'm Team Genty this year. So right. I think it's going to be a great combination. I'm thinking 1,200 yards, 900 yards, a lot of shared. I mean, if I'm Andy Avalos, I'm lining up Ashton Genty RB1 against Washington Series 1, and I'm going hard Ashton Genty and using him like a workhorse.
Yeah.
And finding spots that makes sense, finding smart spots, and almost pacing myself with the George Holani and letting him going out there and being maybe the most important back, but maybe not the most productive back on this football team.
Yeah, I'd be a little nervous with Genty the very first play in Husky Stadium.
Why?
That's 77,000. I might calm things down a little bit and give Holani the first series. Yeah. And I bet that's what they do. I bet Holani gets the first carry. They're a little nervous about Genty early on, but that should change.
I guarantee you they're not nervous about Ashton Genty, but maybe that means Holani can still get the first carry.
In that atmosphere,
Yeah, they're not nervous about Ashton Genty. He's a pro, man.
What do you guys think? Who gets the most votes, or who would you vote for? Cordero, Horton, one of the Boise State guys? Text us and let us know. 208-424-9300. Robert Kawada from the Fresno Bee covers Fresno State Bulldog football. What are his expectations going into Mountain West Media Day, and what does he think the top storylines are? Let's talk with Robert Kawada coming up next on Idaho Sports Talk. This is KTIK The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket.